Hello there,
Hello there.
and welcome to What If Qui-Gon Didn't Die? My name's Jamie,
And my name is Shaun.
and we love talking about Star Wars.
We do.
But we're not always serious about it. Sometimes we like to mess around.
Serious about Star Wars.
We are serious about Star Wars, but we don't talk serious about Star
No.
Wars. If you're here for the facts and the figures and the intricate details, you might be disappointed. If you're here for a bit of fun and headcanon,
Yeah.
welcome along.
And going, Sean's got that wrong again. That's not the species of Watto. Thank you for pointing that out, Brado, last week. Essentially last week, but this is 2 weeks later, but yeah.
I think it's fair to say we make plenty of mistakes with what we say.
I just want to say, though, we recorded that, like I hadn't seen episode 1 in a long time, and then after recording that episode, I then watched episode 1 in the cinema that night. So, of course, it all came crashing back down to me, and I was thinking we recorded that Watto episode, and now everyone's gonna smite me on Monday.
Because you know the names. You know he's a Toydarian.
But when we get to the podcast, I didn't say Toydarian.
Mine goes blank, and I was the same. You were like, oh yeah, whatever species he is, and I'm in my head, I'm racking my brains, going, I know this.
Yeah, we know what species he is, but then we both said something like Draconis or something like that, and then it just went.
Yeah, I think that was a dragon from Skyrim or something.
Yeah. But yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's bring it back to this episode.
Yeah.
We are going to ask the question: what if Yoda bumped into Anakin at the Jedi Council Temple on Coruscant during Order 66?
That was quite a mouthful. Well done.
It is a mouthful. You can tell. I went through that slowly, so people wouldn't notice I had to think about it. And then I ruined the illusion by talking about how I had to go slowly, so people wouldn't realise I was thinking about it. So yeah.
But it's very well put anyway.
Hopefully that makes more sense than some of the questions we sometimes ask.
Yeah.
We've already opened up the core of the episode. So right, Shawnee.
Let's have a think about this.
Well, before we start about that, let's get some background. Where are we at in the films when this happens?
So this is episode 3. This is before the fight on Mustafar.
Yes.
This is before the lava fight. I trusted you, loved you. I have the high ground. This is.
You were a brother to me.
Yeah. I trusted you, Anakin. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is before he hurts Padme, but this is after Order 66. So it's that, even though like quite a bit of time passed, I think, between Order 66 and then Anakin going to the temple in the film, obviously because of screen time and stuff like that, it makes you think that it's actually not that long at all.
No.
However, loads happened when the clones got Order 66 and their little chips made them go do lally and kill all the Jedi.
Yeah.
So let's just bear in mind, ladies and gents, that there is a massive expanse of hell's fire that fell down when Order 66 was actually given. In the film itself, when Kenobi's on the lizard parrot and he's running after Grievous, it looks like the clones get the order and Cody gets it, and then somehow the rest of his entire battalion get it, and they all start shooting Obi-Wan.
Yes.
There is more stuff that happens after that. So when we actually get to Anakin and he's got his yellow eyes and he's running into the temple with the 501st, more has happened to build up to that point when he goes in there. And also there's a few inconsistencies that I will mention about the scene when he's walking in. However, Palpatine all this time has been building Anakin up to betray the Jedi, and he's been feeding him the malice almost, because he knows that Anakin A, wants to save Padme, and B, wants to be master. But he's granted a seat in the council, but he's denied the role of master.
Well, yes.
Even though you wouldn't know from the films, but he's trained Ahsoka for nearly 3 years during the Clone Wars. He trained Ahsoka up. She was essentially his Padawan while he was Obi-Wan's Padawan still. So let's just move that aside for this one scene in the film that we're going to sort of try and break down. But yeah, so much has happened, and it's built him up to essentially Palpatine going, you know what you need to do? you need to kill the Jedi in order to save Padme. Because if you don't, they're not going to let you, because they'll find out that you're boned behind closed doors.
Yeah. Dirty boy.
Dirty, dirty boy. Because for some reason Jedi can't have families. It's like the Night's Watch. Why can't they?
It's tradition, isn't it?
I know, but it's
old tradition.
It's silly. It's silly.
It is silly.
But like most, like not cults, but like most, revered orders. And it's like a chivalry thing, isn't it? I will take no lands, no wives. I will father no children.
Yeah.
Because you are a knight of the realm. That's kind of where it's going there. You see it in a lot of fantasy.
Yeah.
Fantasy stuff, and Star Wars is no exception to that. As well, like we spoke about the Ronin. They're sort of solitary Jedi based off of samurai, blah, blah, blah.
We'll have that whole Ronin spin, don't we?
Yeah. So, anyway, so Palpatine's dug into him. He's basically... Because by this point as well, Mace Windu has found Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
He's taken off his mask of perfection, and now he's a wrinkly old ball bag. Prosthetically weird. Like, I would have just left him young. I don't, I know he was damaged, but again, that might be the Force cloak that we spoke about in the Powers episode.
That could be, well, like you say, it could be a Force power that's removed or diminished, but also it's possibly just a visual cue. So when we first ever see the Emperor back in episode 5,
yes. He is old and decrepit.
It's actually the youngest he's ever been.
Yeah.
But he looks really old.
Yeah.
Because of the prosthetic mask he's got on.
Yes.
So that then links that for those people who are really slow and haven't quite worked out that Senator Palpatine is also Emperor Palpatine, that is the final piece of the puzzle, isn't it? That's how he becomes so wrinkly and But yeah, I like the idea. Maybe in a separate episode get into what a Force cloak might do, but I like the idea that perhaps that is the reason.
Because we did sort of say about Force blank and stuff, didn't we? And I think maybe when maybe Mace Windu sort of stopped that power, and that's when he went.
It would make sense for like covering his eyes and stuff, because Anakin's not a shriveled old man at that point, but he's got yellow eyes.
Yeah.
And Palpatine's got yellow eyes, but he doesn't.
Because you just look at his eyes and go, Sith.
Something's a bit naughty about you.
Yeah. Darth Maul had yellow eyes, although Dooku did not have yellow eyes.
But he might be using the cloak.
He might be using the cloak, but I also don't think Dooku was a real Sith.
Well, yeah, but this is what I think we've said before.
Yeah.
He's potentially one conversation. He just needs the right person, the right time, the right situation. Then he might turn away from the Sith.
Yeah, this is it.
Anyway, sidetracking aside.
Yeah, they're all episodes of their own rights, aren't they? Anyway, and then this all leads up to, for some reason, the clones, after Order 66, don't kill Anakin, even though you would think, how could they was he a bad guy or not? Or was it in their inhibitor chip before Anakin was even born? Like, the clones had started to be made.
Yeah.
I mean, you're telling me these fully grown clones started when Anakin was still young. Emperor Palpatine was already part of the Senate by then.
Yes.
Before Episode 1. So let's say the clones were already commissioned sort of in that time era. I can't remember exactly. Somebody will probably tell me. So then, somehow in their inhibitor chips, it is said not to kill Anakin or the Emperor, even though they're technically Jedi.
But they're also technically Sith, aren't they? So maybe there's a difference.
Well, maybe the clones can see that,
somehow.
Yeah.
The entire council couldn't see Palpatine as a Sith.
Yeah.
But some
clones who have a chip in their head, telling them to kill all the Jedi will go, but not him though. Maybe, even though he's basically a Force wielder. Maybe
there's a list of names. Maybe that's how the thing works. So if you're a Jedi, you're registered as a Jedi, so name goes on the list.
Yeah.
And you're in trouble.
Oh, maybe you already had Anakin as a non-Jedi.
However, that list would have had to have been made,
like up until the point.
Yeah. And sort of maybe fast forwarding a bit here. Anakin goes to see the younglings. They're young. Those chips would have been created before
the younglings. That's why he had to kill the younglings.
But those names might not have been registered, but the clone troopers that went in there or were escorting Anakin must have seen and gone, this isn't right.
Yeah, but if Order 66 is all Jedi, and Anakin's saying, right, they're technically Jedi because they are youngling Jedi. But I didn't see.
But it becomes confusing, doesn't it? Because at that point, for all intents and purposes, Anakin is still a Jedi.
Yeah.
We know he's turning.
Yeah.
Or he's turned, but he's just turned.
Yeah.
He's not. To the wider perception, he's still a Jedi.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan still believes he's a Jedi.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan's his closest friend.
Yeah. This is it, and that's a bit of deep diving I need to do. Maybe
these are some of the inconsistencies. This is why there's issues with
some of it, some of the way the story sort of went along. But either way, the bit I'm thinking about when Yoda runs into Anakin, we've all seen it in the film. He goes into the temple with a 501st, marches down the corridor, shoots and kills everybody.
Yeah,
you know. And then he goes to the youngling chamber. They're all scared. There's no Jedi there. Oh, there's one Jedi protecting them, isn't there? And I think Anakin or the clones shoot them down. Yeah. They're not on their own in there.
It wouldn't have taken long.
Or the Guardian's outside.
Yeah.
And they kill the Guardian. The custodian, or whatever they're called, yeah. Anyway, they then go inside and then he used the youngling massacre moves. Obi-Wan, I can't believe you showed him how to do those. Anakin! Yeah, so my thought is that what if Yoda, and this is a point I'm on about, what if Yoda runs into Anakin, you know that first scene when he's marching down, killing the Jedi and the clones are trooping him, and then Yoda walks out with his stick onto the sort of hallway or walkway, whatever it is, because is it in the Obi-Wan series that the young black woman escapes and then she becomes one of the sisters?
Yeah, that's right. One of the younglings is a sister, I'm sure. Yeah,
because in Obi-Wan, she's angry at Vader, but also hunting Obi-Wan.
Yeah, because her duty demands
it too. Yeah. I'll have to again look into that. It's been a little while. But yeah, anyway, so he walks down that gangway, and this is the point I'm thinking, where Yoda hasn't fled yet, and he then walks out in front of Anakin.
So is this...
This is just before Youngling Massacre moves.
But is this before Palpatine fights Yoda?
I cannot remember the order of the film.
Because if it's post that battle, which is in the Senate, I suppose, it's not in the same place.
Yeah, it's not in the Jedi Council chambers, is it?
But if it was after, Yoda would probably be quite scared, because that's when he wants to get away, isn't it? He realises he can't
flees
defeat him.
after the fight with Palpatine.
Yeah, he knows he can't defeat him, or to defeat him would actually be... He should have gone down with the ship as a separate thing. I think Yoda should have kept going until he literally couldn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's beside the point. So okay, so let's assume that was pre-Palpatine showdown.
Yep. Maybe he was on his way to meet Palpatine, and he runs into Anakin with all of the clones. Do you think... Well, we have to assume as well, before we go any further, that the clones just don't open up fire with their rotary cannons, because in each squad a clone carries a big two-handed, Gatling cannon, essentially.
Yeah.
Laser Gatling thing. Let's just assume that they don't shoot Yoda straight away and he dies, because there has to be some dialogue.
Yeah.
There, they can't just shoot him and he instantly pulls his lightsaber and tries to, move out of the way.
I would imagine that if Anakin had leadership over these troopers, he probably wouldn't want them to kill Yoda if he had the chance to do it himself.
Although strategically,
it would make more sense.
You would want them to shoot him to buggery, and then you come in the confusion with your lightsaber and finish him off.
Yeah.
Tactically, that's the best way to go, isn't it?
But there's always been a bit of a code, hasn't there, about honour and...
Yeah, I will fight you here.
Yeah, it's a one-on-one battle, or it's a two-on-one battle, but it's always seen as a fair fight.
One-on-one.
Yeah. Mano a mano. Tete-a-tete.
Shoot the opponent to win.
So... maybe out of respect, they bump into each other. and the clones aren't allowed.
Yeah,
To shoot
Anakin's
Yoda.
like that. Don't shoot. He's mine. Or
Maybe
something sinister like that.
he's working on the assumption that maybe Yoda doesn't know that Anakin is.
Turned yet.
Yeah.
But then I think it would be in Yoda's nature to say,
Clouded judgment you have.
yeah, wrong path you walk.
Yeah.
You know.
Like some sort of ancient Chinese proverb.
You know, I am the Force and the Force is with me.
Yes.
You know, you wrong path chosen you have. You know, something like that, and maybe
the man with yellow eyes walks down the path of incorrectness.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Change your eyes have colour.
I have not seen this side of you before.
Yeah, I mean,
Padawan.
Yeah, but he would say something, wouldn't he? He would be like, he would either already know that Anakin's turned and try and dissuade him,
Mm-hmm.
or he wouldn't have known, and he would try and talk to him as if to say, you know. But then I guess he would have seen him kill the other Jedi on the bridge, so he would have just basically opened up and said, "What are you doing, you nunts?"
They might have engaged in combat, which I think, if they cross paths at that point, Yoda knows, because he has to know. At this point, as clouded as Anakin is, actually his path becomes more clear because it's darker and there's a dark energy. So Yoda should be able to sense that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he must be able to then go, okay, there's no reasoning here, or maybe there is reasoning, but this is a tricky time.
Yeah.
Anakin's looking to kill everybody. He doesn't care who they are.
Yeah.
If they met each other on the way to where the younglings are, they would have had a fight.
Oh, Yoda would have done his best to defend the younglings, that's for sure.
But, as we know with every Jedi fight, there has to be some sort of conversation. They can't just fight, except with Darth Maul, because he's not a chatty guy anyway.
He's just a super cool.
Unless he just wants to go, Kenobi!
Yeah. This is the thing. And we would all want Yoda to talk to Anakin while they're fighting. So they draw swords and they start clashing. Yoda's doing his backflips. Anakin's there all angry, just trying to smite the little green toad.
Yeah.
And between sort of sword holds, he's going, "This is not you, Anakin. You are good. I can feel it in you. Padme, Palpatine has lied to you. You can't save Padme unless you save her yourself. It's not down to Palpatine."
If he mentioned Padme in a fight,
yeah, but Yoda should already know. Come on.
Anakin would probably just go, "What do you know about?" Oh, wait, hang on.
Yeah,
I've been wrong this whole time. You do know everything.
Yeah, exactly. They're not blind to it. That's probably why they don't grant him the rank of master. Because they know he's got his end away.
Yeah. I think you'll find that none of the master's dicks are wet.
Yeah. Our swords are long, but our schlongs are not.
Sheathed forever.
Yeah.
Friend zoned, we shall be.
Yeah, friend zoned we are. But this is the thing. If he tried to talk to him, that is maybe the only way that Anakin would stop trying to kill him. If Yoda said, "I can help you save Padme. Don't listen to Palpatine." You know, he would have to know and then try to dissuade Anakin from going any further.
I think the reason Obi-Wan could never turn Anakin back or persuade him otherwise is because he was too much of a friend.
He was too emotional towards him as well.
Yeah, he couldn't. He wasn't. Yeah, maybe emotionally strong enough to kind of command Anakin to do what needed to be done.
Yes,
he let him get away with too much because.
He let him get away with loads.
Because they were friends. You always let your friends do more than they really should, even if you see them doing something which is a bit iffy. You kind of go, "Yeah, but
it's all right.
He's
I'll talk to him later.
He's just being silly. It's fine."
Yeah,
but he's just being silly once. And then twice, and then before you know it, he's on the dark side. Or in prison, or whatever. You know, that's kind of the path of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas Yoda was always a figure of authority. There was no... He's not Yoda's friend, and Yoda's not his friend.
No.
He is the Grand Master of all Jedi.
Yeah.
And if he says something, he might disagree with it because he's a little brat, isn't he? But if in that moment Yoda was then able to open up some sort of, I've seen this, I've seen that, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
This is the wrong path. I can help you if you can help me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe in that moment, yeah, Anakin's still angry, and yes, his anger's so fresh, perhaps he would be blinded for that moment. But as they're fighting, if he can't defeat Yoda, and all he can hear is Yoda's words, perhaps that's what it would take.
Maybe that would soothe them, yeah. I mean, and it's another branch in the tree, isn't it? He would either go, "It's too late now, Master Yoda, I've done things," and then try to kill him. And Yoda goes, "All right, but there's no hope for you now then."
Yeah.
Or he goes, "It's too late, Master Yoda, I've done too much." And he goes, "Always there is time for redemption."
Oh, yes.
Something like that. And then,
I like the sound of that.
And then, of course, what's going to happen then is the clones are going to hear this, and the clones are going to. They've either gone to, secure the area, or they're just still stood at the back of the bridge watching.
I think they would be stood because they would know not to be. Because Anakin at that point would have probably said, "Wait,
yeah,
like, this is not your battle right now. I'll deal with this."
Mine, yeah. And
how they might react to it after.
Well, this is the thing. If they heard Anakin, maybe Anakin would have to turn round, stop fighting Yoda, and he would have to defend himself because they would probably start shooting instantly. The second they saw Anakin take his hood off and maybe start crying, "I'm sorry, I'll fix this," and maybe they'll go. But then if Palpatine's told them not to shoot Anakin, maybe they'll just still try and shoot Yoda.
Yeah, or maybe this is kind of a precursor to Bad Batch. Maybe they're all their chips malfunction because they're so confused by the situation because they were they were defending after being told to destroy.
Yeah,
they had this one specific person to defend, and now they don't have to defend because of the rule, but actually they don't want to destroy because it's the rule's still there, and this isn't the Order 66 rule because that rule doesn't apply in the same way. So maybe all their heads spin around multiple times and
they
explode.
would just throw themselves off that bridge.
Yeah, What have I done?
Yeah,
I mean, in a Kiwi accent, obviously.
Yeah. Oh my God, what have I done? Commander, what have I done? But then let's say they try and shoot Yoda. Maybe Yoda and Anakin both sort of try to deflect. Yoda hops away, and maybe goes to find the younglings because he would feel their anxiety in the Force, wouldn't he?
He is a defender, and I know I said that he should have fought Palpatine for longer, but there's a reason he doesn't, and I think that's just because he is technically defeated. And Palpatine then uses the chance to get away. Palpatine knows he can't defeat Yoda, and Yoda knows he can't defeat Palpatine.
Yeah.
They're kind of such a stalemate because their powers are so equally opposite.
Yeah.
So they kind of can't. And Palpatine, he's not interested in honour.
No.
He's interested in escape.
Dual wielding lightsabers and doing backflips until everybody's dead.
Yeah. So Yoda doesn't really have a choice there. But now he's if he was in a situation where he knows the younglings are there and all he has to do is fight Anakin and some clone troopers, if needs be, I think he would be there until the end.
Yeah. If he... Because this was sort of my next point. If he couldn't turn Anakin...
Yeah.
He would either have to try and kill Anakin, or maybe something would happen, like the troopers would open fire and then he'd jump off the bridge.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he can't save the younglings, because in the end Anakin has to save kill the younglings, because I think that is the major turning point in the road.
Yeah.
Killing the children is just...
Without remorse.
Yeah, because I know he killed the desert people children. The women and children too. But he was remorseful after that.
He was remorseful because he confessed to it.
Yeah.
But he wasn't remorseful when he was doing it because he was angry and he felt justified.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to justify himself when he kills the Jedi kids because he doesn't care. He's at the point where he wants to destroy the Order.
Yeah.
And anybody who is part of the Order is an enemy.
Yeah.
And needs to be destroyed. So he's not remorseful at that point, and he gets to the point because his path is completing.
Yeah.
It's just an obstacle.
Yeah, this is it, and I chose this specific point for Yoda to bump into Anakin because of the younglings.
Yeah.
Like I say, if the clone troopers did open up, tried to shoot him because it was obvious Anakin wasn't going to win. You know, Anakin is the chosen one.
Yeah.
However, Yoda is Yoda, and he's been around a lot more. He knows how to use the Force to his advantage a bit more.
Yeah.
He's obviously feels a bit justified, even though the odds are stacked against him. If it came to the point where he was using like a Force barrier to stop all the lasers, and Anakin was trying to swipe at him as well, he'd be like that. Oh, for God's sake!
I do believe that.
Do you think Yoda could defeat Anakin and all of those troopers?
I think he would separate the two of them.
Do you think he would force push the clone troopers away?
Yeah, he'd not necessarily kill them, but he'd eliminate them as a threat by either bringing an obstacle in the way, bringing down a pillar.
Oh, that's the point. Because we've seen in the Dooku fight, they both use the environment to use the Force. So maybe he'd bring down the pillar to stop the troopers. Maybe they'd have to run round.
Yoda's not stupid, and he can see Anakin's power, and he can see how angry he is and how
yellow his eyes are. Yeah.
So he knows that whatever fight this is going to be, it's going to be a hard fight.
Yeah.
What he doesn't need is the distraction of the clone troopers also shooting at him.
Mm.
They might not shoot because Anakin's there, and they don't want to also hit Anakin because that's bad.
They're special ops, these clone troopers. They won't be hitting Anakin, come on. But no, I do know what you mean. So he would have pulled the pillar down or broken the bridge or something,
He would have done something that would have eliminated them as a threat and left it as Anakin and Yoda. One-on-one. Let's settle this.
Because that would open up time for dialogue as well.
Yeah.
Because if the clones were there, I don't think they'd have any talking time. It should be fight. And either Yoda or Anakin would give up and turn around and run off.
Mm.
But because he stops the clones, that's a good shout doing that.
Yeah.
It opens up the think about what you're doing. This isn't right. Think about the children, maybe. And maybe Anakin's so angry that he does just sort of push Yoda off the bridge somehow. Yoda doesn't have to die in that moment, you see.
No, but
he can just be eliminated from the area, and then Anakin carries on the path anyway.
Mm.
But what we're trying to say is if Yoda met him, we're hoping that path would change and it wouldn't end the same with just Yoda running off to see Palpatine because he's just got dicked by Anakin.
Yeah, I think
it's hard, isn't it? Because
it would make sense as well. Like if he's able to then use the environment around him. So going back to that point, he's demonstrating his strength, isn't he? His Force ability, because yes, he can lift an X-wing out of the sea, out of the swamp, whatever. But that's something that a lot of people can't do. Even masters struggle with that sometimes because they don't allow themselves to be fully immersed and involved in what the Force is capable of.
Yeah.
Anakin, we see him sometimes use an environment, but it's usually very small things.
Yeah.
I think we've seen him do something something big in Obi-Wan, didn't we?
Oh, that was
he do the Star Destroyer?
But he didn't even try.
Mm.
And this is a thing that we've spoken about this before when people use their hands to express power.
Yeah.
So obviously when he's doing Force choke, that's fine because it looks cool. He's choking.
Yeah, it does look cool.
But with most Star Wars things, and you find this in a lot of cartoons and other sort of magical things, people use their hands to point to accent what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a viewing aid, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the same in Harry Potter. They point their wands where they're going. And, Dumbledore's really powerful because he doesn't have to point his wand or speak when he does a spell. He can do it in his mind. So you're a bit like, wow, the really powerful ones don't have to use their hands all the time to show the people, the sort of little dum-dums. Oh, he's doing something now because his hand's in front of him. Ooh, magic. Whereas you see that more with Anakin, where he has to focus it through his hands, or you see him doing stuff because he's not as good as Yoda. Whereas Yoda does use his hands, but you're seeing him drop his walking stick and then he's using the Force. He's not using the Force is just doing it with him.
Yeah.
He's not actively forcing a jump and then using the Force to propel him, he's just jumping with the Force, and it's not like it's a conscious effort to do these sort of things.
It's more like a meditation point for him, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think Anakin would maybe see that. Maybe Anakin would know that, especially after his fight with Dooku.
Mm.
And even though he is really angry, he would know what Yoda's capable of.
Yeah.
And you think that he may back off after a little while, maybe.
Yeah, I think at that point he believes that he's still too strong for Yoda, because he's got absolute belief in himself, hasn't he?
Palpatine has literally fed him the beef juice.
Oh, he's been drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, like for 3 films now.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's ready, but maybe Yoda could sort of pick him down a little bit.
Mm.
Maybe Yoda would still lose the fight, but this wouldn't help in Anakin's favour. Let's be fair. If Yoda lost or won, it would still bring a bit of disbelief in Anakin. Maybe Anakin would find disbelief if he beat Yoda, and he goes, well, actually, he wasn't that strong. So then he's more angry that people lied to him. That's the dark side path. And if he did beat Yoda in a straight-up fight, he'd go, well, he was weak. Or if Yoda beat him, he would be angry because he thinks he's weak, which is the dark side again.
Yeah.
So whatever happens in that, if they did fight, for example, we're still talking about if they ended up having a fight, Anakin would still just be on the dark side path after, because whatever the outcome, he's going to be upset about it.
Yeah, Yoda needs to find a way. You would have to find a way to reason with him and calm him down.
Without fighting, maybe.
Yeah, or just fighting in a stalemate, but proving that he's not strong enough to be defeated in a one-on-one fight.
Yeah.
But also restrained enough to not defeat Anakin himself.
To anger him further.
Because if Yoda defeats Anakin, that's great for the galaxy, sure.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help Anakin.
No.
And Yoda knows that Anakin is strong. He's heard it. He's heard it from Qui-Gon. He's heard it from Obi-Wan.
And he does feel it. He does feel it.
So he knows he's a power that should be harnessed and should be nurtured into using for the good of the galaxy.
Yeah. But it's whether it's the prophecy, because he was doubtful at first about the actual prophecy.
Well, that's why we get the whole line, isn't it, about anger and hate and dark side.
Yeah, something dark side. Yeah. But no, yeah, I quite like the idea of him trying to talk to Anakin, trying to bring him back. But this is that thing where, like you said before, Anakin doesn't like Yoda. He knows he's a master, and he used to show him respect, but he doesn't know Yoda like he knows Obi-Wan. At that point, because of the Clone Wars animated series and other cartoons and stuff like that, Anakin doesn't know Yoda as well as Captain Rex.
Yeah.
Who's a clone, who's fighting for the Emperor now. So he's torn between, I know Yoda's a smart cookie, but I don't trust this guy, because I trust a soldier who I've spent all my time with, a 14-year-old girl who basically don't wear no clothes from a planet that they stole, and Obi-Wan, who's actually more of a brother and let me get away with murder. So I'm still in spoiled brat, single child syndrome, even when he's a bit older. And his missus was just easy for him.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't have to fight for her.
No.
Because she basically waited for him, and then when she met him again, she was like, oh, this is great. I've been single all this time, just waiting. So everything has been handed to him on a plate, and when he finally sees Yoda, he's not going to trust him as much because, like I say, he's got a bit of spoiled brat syndrome. And if Yoda's trying to tell him, no, please listen, he's going to go, yeah, but everything's been so easy up till now. I'm not listening to you because this is an easy path. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
It just depends how you know, we're led to believe that Palpatine dug his claws in so much. I mean, look at the end. He was so angry he didn't die, and then he was able to turn him into Vader with the robotics. The only reason Anakin's still alive after being burnt and chopped in half is because he's angry. But he was angry at that point because he thought he'd killed Padme. He probably felt in the Force that he'd damaged his kids, or, you know, Obi-Wan's his brother and he had to fight him. This is actually a little bit before then, this fight.
Yeah.
So there's still not the anger we see at the end.
There's still always a chance
for redemption.
And don't we see his yellow eyes as he's about to kill the younglings? So like that's when we sort of get the close up of his face, and then it's like, Master Skywalker, blah blah blah, and then you look at him, and he's like, the hood on his cloak is sort of revealing just his face has just turned to dark, and you're like, okay, now we know that he's got bad intentions. But up until that point, you don't realise that he's going to stoop to those depths.
I've just had a little internet thing here because I thought it was a different moment, and I think it is. I'll read you what it says here.
Go for it.
Anakin's eyes go back and forth over the course of Revenge of the Sith. When he's slaughtering separatists on Mustafar, they're Sith yellow. But when he's duelling with Obi-Wan, they've gone back to normal. Because when he's then chopped in half and he's overwhelmed with anger, they then go back to yellow, don't they? When he's all scarred and he shouts that he hates him. So I think that, yeah, when he's doing the younglings, maybe his eyes are yellow then. But I think they're back to normal when he sees Padme, which is funnily enough before the Obi-Wan fight.
So in moments of pure evil,
they sort of flicker for him, and he gets that hue of yellow. Yeah.
So when Obi-Wan sees him and he's got normal eyes, he can reason with him, or he thinks he can reason with him.
Yes.
He's angry and he wants to fight.
Yeah.
Anakin wants to fight with Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan doesn't want to fight Anakin, but he knows he has to do it. But he's probably torn. He probably thinks, I don't want to, but I've got no choice here. So that's the humanity still in him.
Yeah.
The reasoning part of his brain is still functioning. But once he loses, he can't understand why he's lost.
Yeah.
And it's just pure anger and frustration brings out this Sith look in his eyes.
Well, that's it. Yeah. And we all do it, like when we're angry, like when we're building something and it's not
red,
easy.
You
see red, and what they've done is they've just made it literal.
Yeah.
He turns red.
Yeah.
You know. And I'm led to believe. Let's have a little look here. Because I just actually want to see if his eyes are yellow when he does the younglings.
I think it's just before.
Yeah. So actually, it's gone back to game stuff then. When he pulls his lightsaber out on the younglings,
yeah,
they are not yellow.
Oh, okay.
They're normal there.
But then
obviously, is it after that bit they are yellow for a little while and then they go back. So there are points. So when he's fighting Yoda, they aren't yellow.
No.
So maybe Yoda can see that and he's able to maybe bring him back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, recognise the humanity is still in him.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan nearly did it. If Anakin wasn't just on the teetering on the edge when they fought,
yeah,
Obi-Wan might have been able to.
He needed a stronger character than Obi-Wan
to bring him back. Yeah,
you know, we all love Obi-Wan, but this is his fault, isn't it? This is his flaw.
Oh, yeah, this
he's too forgiving.
He's too forgiving. He's too familiar, and the Jedi Council or the Academy shouldn't have let him master Anakin. They should have given him to Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Because Mace Windu would have been a better master, I think, than Obi-Wan.
He would have just shut it down, wouldn't he?
Yeah, because we've said before in plenty of videos, Obi-Wan's only just been made master at the point.
But he's literally made master so that officially Anakin. He can
carry on Qui-Gon's promise. You know, and I do like the idea of Yoda maybe bringing Anakin back. But maybe, you know, it's like I said before, because the story must go on.
Well, yeah, we'd have to completely eliminate what we already know.
The younglings being killed. Maybe he would go and see Padme and Obi-Wan, and he would maybe be like, "It's all right. We're going to try and take on the Emperor." Change Star Wars again. Not really a dance. Something would have to happen for him to be made into Darth Vader. Yeah. Because Yoda might save him, and he might go to Padme. But then Obi-Wan might say something stupid, and they have to fight anyway.
I mean, that's always a possibility. But Yoda could have saved potentially the younglings.
At least the younglings' lives. If Yoda had met him in the right place, yeah.
But then Yoda might have made. Well,
He could have made a mistake, though, because Yoda doesn't quite like Anakin. It's obvious that he doesn't trust him like he trusts Mace or the other council members.
Yeah.
He knows Anakin's strong, but he doesn't trust him because he knows he's rash.
He can see from the first time he meets him as a boy that his whole vision of him is clouded.
Yeah.
So that's why he doesn't have any trust. So that implies that when Yoda meets younglings, they're of a certain age. Anakin was too old.
Yeah.
Supposedly. But he meets these young wannabe Jedis.
Yeah.
And he can read through them and can see their future. He can see good things happening. If he sees stuff in there that's a bit not quite right, he probably goes, no.
Yeah, we won't take these on as Padawans.
Yeah. Or maybe they can do the trial. They can do a pre-trial type thing and see how they get on.
Yeah.
But realistically, it's not going to happen. Then they've got to come back for another psych evaluation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's always been that barrier between those two characters, but I think he's got the authority, and maybe Mace Windu might have also been able to sort of hold Anakin in place. But I think Mace Windu's he's almost too aggressive himself, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a little bit cocksure, a little bit.
He's very clever, he's very measured, but at the same time, he'd look at Anakin and go, nope, can't have you. You've got to go.
Yeah.
Yoda would go, no, don't like what I'm seeing here, but we can talk about this.
Yeah. Let's work through it.
Let's resolve the issue to make this better for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. Mace Windu perhaps wasn't the ideal choice to go and see Palpatine first time.
Yeah.
Before he became Mace Windu.
Yeah.
because of the way that he is, because he's like a security force, isn't he? He's muscle a lot of the time. Whereas if Yoda had turned up and gone, do you know what, I think something's not quite right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's investigate, but let's do it Yoda style, relaxed, chilled out. We'll see what you've got to say.
Yeah.
And then we'll decide. I'll make a decision, and then we'll take you by force.
Yeah.
If I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
He would talk to the council members and be like, right, it's game over for this one.
Yeah, maybe. But then most of the council were with Palpatine then. It was only Bail Organa who wasn't. Or a few others that we find out from like Obi-Wan series and stuff like that. But yeah, I just it's a tough one because the fight itself would be cool. People want it. It's a bit like the Game Bowl that happened during Game of Thrones. Yoda Anakin Bowl. But at any point when Anakin's attacking the temple, it's going to be that they are going to fight, but in the end, Yoda's got to fail.
Yes.
For there to be Darth Vader. For there to be Rogue One. For there to be episodes 4, 5, 6.
Realistically, the only way that the outcome's really got to change is if 4, 5, and 6 didn't exist.
This is it, yeah. And if Yoda managed to actually beat Anakin, he would have to kill him by lopping off his head.
Oh, yeah.
Because we already know that he's so angry at losing a fight, he stays alive. And he's able to be made part machine.
But Palpatine wouldn't be too far away, so perhaps he would have got the spidey senses would tingle and he'd be saved.
He would be in there, maybe he'd get the clones to pick him up and bring him back. But I don't think Yoda would have it in him to actually kill Anakin.
No, and I agree with that. I think he would if it was the only choice. But he would do everything possible to prevent getting to that.
Yeah.
That final decision.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would kill him. I think if judging by the prequel sort of Yoda that we've seen, he would fight him until he was exhausted.
Yeah.
Try and bring him round, and if Anakin still wouldn't listen, and Anakin was just about to lay the last blow, maybe then Yoda would flip off and jump away over the bridge.
Yeah.
Because
maybe you're right.
Because he still has to go and become. Well, he knows how to become a Force ghost, but he needs to go to Dagobah to then meet Luke in 15 years.
See, now that's interesting because that's Yoda seeing a picture so big.
Yeah. Which is essentially what Palpatine's done since before Anakin was even born.
Yeah.
Palpatine's seen all this. For Yoda to have that premonition to be like, I need to live, because otherwise, why did he hide on? Like, did Obi-Wan ever go and see him on Dagobah?
Not that we know of.
It might be in a comic. Like I say, every episode, it might be in a comic or a book, but we don't physically see anybody go visit him. So he had to go there and wait for a reason. So he must have thought, maybe I'll go into hiding then. If Anakin can beat me, I'll go into hiding, because the fight with Palpatine doesn't really change anything.
No.
You know, even if he defeated Palpatine, he probably wouldn't kill him because he's a Jedi.
Yeah.
So Palpatine would get out and still do what he needs to do anyway. And B, even if he did kill him, he would still have to go into hiding because there'd still be Order 66.
Yeah, they'd still be hunting him.
So,
and he's not gonna defeat Palpatine by himself.
No. And by that point, isn't Obi-Wan already sort of making his way out to find Padme?
Yeah.
Because she's the only senator left. All the others have evacuated, but for some reason a pregnant Padme's still there. But Obi-Wan at that
mysterious
point...
bump you have.
Yeah, I mean, Obi-Wan knows at that point anyway, doesn't he? But either way, Yoda has to lose or run away from one of those fights. And I think, if the younglings survived, I mean, they would maybe grow up maybe a bit like Grogu, you know, traumatised from what they saw in the Jedi Temple.
Oh, there must be a level of trauma, and they probably wouldn't complete their training to protect themselves.
This is it, and they probably end up a little bit like Kanan Jarrus from Rebels. Like, they know the Force is there, they're like novice Jedi.
Yeah.
But they've got to hide it because the Empire's still hunting Jedi.
Yeah.
So maybe they become healers, or maybe they just keep it hidden and go their separate ways. And maybe there's some of the lost boys that you never see, or maybe get pulled into the rebellion, but they haven't died. But we as Star Wars consumers won't see them that much.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know Kanan, because we see in the Bad Batch that Kanan runs off. He actually runs into the Bad Batch, but they let him go. Good. And then we see him in Rebels, and we're like that. Right, lovely. That's a story arc from start to end, done. And Star Wars have sort of made it canon. Lovely job. But these little younglings, I don't know if they would make canon stories out of them or not. However, we would feel like, I don't know, would it change our perception of Anakin? Because he killed the younglings, so we all go, God, he murdered children, my God. He's a bad guy.
We need to hate him, don't we?
We need to hate him, so when he actually becomes Vader, we don't feel, oh, this is so tragic for him. I really feel for him. It's, he's a douchebag. Now he's an evil douchebag robot. Look at his douchebag master. Bunch of douches.
It's a funny thing, isn't it, though? Because you watch him, you don't watch him kill the younglings, but you know it happens.
Yeah.
But you don't at that point hate him because you know it's the story. You know, because of the order the stories are released, he's got to go through these kind of stages to become Darth Vader, and we love Darth Vader.
Yeah. Even though he's a bad guy, he's our favourite character.
Yeah, and we love Darth Vader. I think a lot of us actually hate Anakin in comparison.
Yeah.
But we don't hate Anakin's journey because we know where it ends.
Yes.
So if you were watching a film about serial killers, and it was a serial killer walked into that room, you'd be like, that horrible bastard. What's he doing that for?
Kids.
Yeah, but because it's Anakin, you go, well, this is just the path, isn't it? This is the path he's on.
Yeah.
This is what has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's kind of sad, but actually, you don't feel half as bad about it because, because you kind of have this weird sort of, you can see how it's going to play out.
Yeah, he becomes a force choking badass. But it's a good question. What if Yoda ran into Anakin?
Yeah, bringing it back to the
actual question, but I just don't think it would change much, because either Yoda wins and Anakin loses and Palpatine finds him anyway.
Yeah.
Or Anakin wins and he fights Obi-Wan and Palpatine has to find him anyway.
Yeah.
Because we need to get to episode 4. But the only change that would be is that he didn't kill the younglings, and as a watcher, we wouldn't hate him as much for killing kids. Maybe we would see a random Jedi, or maybe even Yoda being like, "Come with me, you're getting out of here."
Yeah, I think...
And we would maybe go, "Oh, well done, Yoda, you're a Knight of the Realm." But then the story would have to carry on with Anakin fighting Obi-Wan and hurting Padme and thinking that he's lost his kids, blah, 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 to get to, "I hate you."
If there's one benefit, I think, one that I'd like to talk about anyway, one benefit about the younglings perhaps surviving in that instance, if there was a duel between Yoda and Anakin, the younglings get saved, it's that there's hope.
Yeah.
And as we know, Star Wars is built on this idea of hope.
Yeah.
And it's not just hope that these kids are going to grow up to do something to save the galaxy. It's actually hope that somewhere in there, Anakin can be saved from Darth Vader.
Yes.
At some point, he just needs convincing strongly enough.
Yeah.
And that amount of hope would then be, it takes 3 more films.
Yeah.
And he's only really saved as he's dying.
Yeah.
But it's possible, and that hope would be then perhaps reinforced.
Yeah, because the younglings escaped. And even if they did, say they released episode 4, 5 and 6 after 1, 2, 3, Yoda pushed Anakin back and he was able to get the younglings out. Anakin's still alive, still going to become Vader, but Yoda manages to get away, get the younglings out.
Yeah.
You've got potential then for one, even if it's just one little line that Luke says, "I spoke to Master Yoda."
Yeah.
Them younglings now all have families and they live peacefully. And maybe it would make Vader go,
"Oh, I did that, didn't I? I forgot about that, but what a terrible thing."
Yeah. "Oh, I nearly killed all of them."
Yeah.
They wouldn't have kids because I'm talking to my kid right now. Luke is my child, and I'm slowly coming round to the good again. And now I'm feeling a little pulse in my heart.
Yeah.
Because all of these younglings I didn't murder, thank the Lord, have now all got families and are trying to find peace. And maybe that would help him come round a bit more.
It would seem like such a minor, inconsequential thing
At the beginning.
But actually, I think over time, perhaps it would have an emotional depth to it that is a subconscious emotional, but you'd be really happy that he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Then he can go as dark as he wants, but at the end of the day, he was able to be persuaded otherwise, and later on remorseful about how bad he was and what might have happened if he had continued at that point and didn't bump into this whole green goblin that he doesn't even like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it, and it could be, "Father, remember you didn't kill those younglings.
You're not all bad.
You're not all bad.
Yeah.
They've all grown up now, and they're not here hurting you. They're just living their own little lives."
Yeah.
And that's all Luke had to say. Bang. Cut scene. He doesn't have to go into it, but maybe just make Vader just maybe goes, "No." But maybe a little bit of him would go, "All right, well, I'm kind of glad Yoda pushed me away," or "I'm kind of glad I let him go."
Yeah.
And then that may just help at the end when he throws Palpatine off and he skyrockets down the tube, which would be a really weird atmospheric thing because they were up in the atmosphere. Unless they've got a shield to pressurise the air, because none of that chamber would have any air in it if they're that far up in space. Anyway, I know they're not in space, they're up on clouds, aren't they? But anyway, when he throws them over, I didn't kill those kids like you wanted me to, old man. Throw down.
I'm better than that.
I'm better than that. Maybe, And like we say, it's such a quick scene and everybody makes memes about it, but actually, for Vader's psyche, because when he fights Obi-Wan, I think part of the reason he's so sort of like a built-up, it's a literal volcano they're fighting in.
Yeah.
And that just represents Anakin's, like,
actual volcanic emotions, yeah.
He's preparing to
bubbling,
explode. He's probably that bad at that moment because he's reeling from killing kids.
Yeah.
That is an innocent thing, and you've blasted it away.
He's killed kids, and he knows he's got kids on the way.
Yeah. So, and that could have been his kids. That Palpatine might look at him one day and say, "You need to kill your kids."
Mm.
What if he looked at Luke and Leia and went, "I don't want Luke to join us, Just kill him, Vader. You've already killed kids. What's the difference?
Yeah.
You know, but he's already reeling from that moment, and maybe that's why he can't listen to Obi-Wan, because his brain's just going, I just killed kids. That's just... Or maybe I've just killed Yoda, and then I went to kill kids, so now there's no hope left.
Yeah.
I've killed the last remnants of hope, so now I have to kill Obi-Wan, because I might as well just hold on to every scrap of power that I can. You know, and that's probably why that fight's so bad. Whether or not he meets Yoda, that fight is so... And that fight would probably be made worse for Anakin if he met Yoda, because he would be even angrier.
Yeah.
Whether he killed the younglings or Yoda beat him in a fight and he didn't kill the younglings, he would be twice as angry. And he would probably then have beat Obi-Wan. Maybe his anger would have actually made him beat
Possibly.
Beat Obi-Wan. And then it would be Obi-Wan escaping, running away with his life, you know, and all the stuff with Padme and the kids and stuff like that. And it would just be... He would be Vader 2.0 then.
Yes.
Because he's so angry. More so. Somehow even more angrier that he, in the Star Wars canon lore, that he can just get up and walk without legs. Like the Force is so angry in him that he's using his stumpy legs to walk normally.
Yeah, just floats.
Just floats around, yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, all these little things might build up, but, you know, it's just a nice little tragic story, isn't it?
Yeah, as it is.
But we focused on the younglings here. I mean, if he met him at another point, maybe he meets him outside the temple. So he's not even gone inside and fought the Jedi yet. So the youngling thing isn't anything to do with Yoda. It's just the other Jedi get him out because Yoda's held him back a little bit. Yeah. You know, so again, it's inconsequential to us, but Anakin would know.
Yeah, there would be just enough change from to feel something different.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, he'll still be Vader, but when it comes to Luke confronting him, there would be some knowledge there that actually, yeah. But all them Jedi escaping, if Yoda did hold him back at the gates and not actually after he'd killed all the other Jedi.
Yeah.
Think of all of the little pockets of resistance of Jedi then.
Oh, yeah.
They maybe take these younglings away, maybe train them up in secret, but they'd be on the run from the Empire for their whole lives.
But at least they'd know what to expect.
They know what to expect. They can join the Rebel Alliance. Leia would keep them safe. And think about that. Obi-Wan's apparently the last Jedi. He's the old space hermit wizard.
Yeah.
There would be more dotted around, and Luke would be able to then find them and learn.
Well, yeah.
And when he tries to rebuild his Jedi school or whatever it is, he would be able to use the other Jedi that escaped. You know, if them younglings and the other Jedi do get out, they actually affect more other storylines of still being alive in the galaxy.
Well, I'll tell you what, because actually that could be a whole episode in itself. What would happen if the younglings escaped?
Survived, yeah.
Okay, so let's put a pin in that there.
Doink.
Because I think we can definitely explore more of that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, with that being said, I think we've covered quite a lot of ground there.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of things to consider. So yeah, let's. How do you fancy about wrapping up there?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Lovely. Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Look after yourselves.
Be good.
And stay sand out of the...